All right, we're live.
All right, we're live again, baby.
Hey, Nick. How you
Hey,
doing?
Tristan, what's happening? Um,
Now we've got Amanda. Amanda, say
Hi.
hi.
hey, Amanda Thomason Todd is with us, guys. Welcome to Under the Microscope, episode 2. We've been building up this episode like crazy since we were at Inman last week, just because Amanda is like so inspirational. Um,
We
Thanks,
got to meet
Nick.
her there for the first time, and from the very first time we met her, we knew she was absolutely amazing.
we knew she was special.
Her story, and wow, we were floored. So
Wait,
we wanted to bring her to you.
let's just brief the story real quick for those of you that don't know. Amanda's been in the business for 19 months. She never really had a job in corporate America. You just kind of held like odds and ends, right? Like kind of just nothing nothing that was equivalent to this, right? I mean,
No, I
right.
worked in the dental field for 6 years before I had kids, and then I
Okay.
was a stay-at-home mom for 9.5 years.
Okay, so you jumped into real estate 19 months ago. Long story short, 25 million in volume under her belt with about 40 transactions and counting, and a price point of about 670 something thousand, right? 78,000.
Yeah, 2015, my average sales point was 678.
And you're in Sacramento. That's pretty unbelievable. I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, "How did you do it?" I've been busting you bust your butt, but my point is, there's people that just can't break a certain price point no matter how they try. So that's what we want to get into that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
pretty
So,
interesting story.
Amanda, I have a question to start off this whole thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people find themselves in a difficult situation when they're forced to actually work and are forced into doing something that they didn't really expect. So I find it really inspiring to hear your story. So if you could just tell us your story of why you got into real estate and why you were so successful, why you think at the beginning you were so successful.
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons, well, okay, let me back up a little bit. Like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom for 9.5 years. For those of you who don't know, I have 3 kids. And I was a military wife. And so what inspired me when I knew that I was going to be a single mom, what inspired me to go into real estate was that I moved around the country to several places. And working with different real estate transactions, I just kept thinking, I could do this. I've done so much of the work for my own transactions. Why couldn't I just do this for a full-time job? And when I bought my house in California, the real estate agent that I worked with said, "You would be a really good realtor." And I said, "Oh, well, okay, that's great. I'm a stay-at-home mom." But then that always just kind of stuck with me. And so I got my license, and then I had my big why. I had 3 kids that I had to support. And so I just said, okay, I'm going to do this. And success was my only option because I wanted to really have a good lifestyle for my 3 kids and myself. I did not want to be a destitute single mom.
All right.
Sorry, I'm just sharing the link on Facebook, Tristan. Ask another question. No.
Oh, good.
I think
Okay.
it's
I did
fantastic.
have another question.
No, I think it's fantastic.
So,
Go ahead.
how important is it to have a big why for those realtors that are starting off? Because I think they start with a different reason, and I want you to explain how that drove you to your success.
Well, one of the biggest things that I feel like is important to have a why is that level of accountability that comes with it. I mean, if you really think true accountability isn't penalizing yourself, it's holding yourself responsible. And so for me, my big why is having 3 little mouths that I have to feed. For me, it's looking at their faces when I tell them, I'm sorry, we don't have the money for that, or I'm sorry, Christmas will be tight this year, or birthday will be tight this year. Yeah. I didn't want to go through that with my kids. I wanted to be able to provide them with a life that I felt like could be comfortable, still teaching them to work by all means, but with a life that I felt like I didn't want them to have to worry about. I mean, divorce is stressful enough for kids to go through, but for kids to feel that pressure and burden of then financial struggles going along with it, for me, it was just I wanted to make things as comfortable as possible for my kids. And so I have only ever met one really successful agent that just, I guess really he runs it from a business standpoint. He does. I kind of tease him a lot for not having as big of a why. But generally speaking, if you don't have that why, you don't have that level of accountability. That's something that you have to answer to if you don't have success.
All right, that makes sense. Before we go on, can you show me what you're drinking? Water.
Water.
Big water bottle. I drink about a gallon a day.
A gallon a day. I'm drinking iced tea.
I'm drinking sparkling water now, guys.
Oh, you.
Nick changed.
I don't want to be the only drunk in the house. Okay.
When we were talking to you earlier, you mentioned that you read a book that really inspired you at the very beginning of your real estate career. What was that?
Called StrengthsFinder 2.0.
And what did you find in it that made you want to do better, or what helped you from it?
Well, the premise behind the book is that so many self-help books talk about what your weaknesses are and how you can overcome that. And the premise behind this book is look at your strengths and then build on your strengths. And so I recommend, I mean, you can get it on Amazon. Don't buy a used one, though, because it comes with a unique online code that you go online and you take, I believe it was like 200 questions, like a 200-question test. Okay. And you're supposed to answer each question within 20 seconds because they really want just like your knee-jerk reaction on that. And then you read the first 2 chapters of the book, you take the test, and then the rest of the book defines, I believe it's 40 strengths. And the test will tell you what your top 5 strengths are. And as you read the book, it defines the strengths, and it also tells you who you would work well, you know, with what other strengths you have. And so for me, I really enjoyed seeing, okay, these are my strengths. How can I apply these to my career? And it helped me a ton to really just focus on those strengths and build on them.
Nice. And I love that. I looked into the book after I talked to you. I really hadn't read it. So now I just ordered a copy.
Oh, well, good. I'm
so glad you're prepared for the interview, Tristan.
Dude, totally. No, I am.
So listen, when we first met you at Inman, you know, one of the things that you said that you pride yourself on, and a lot of people kind of brush this off to the side, maybe they don't think it's such a big deal, but you know, you pride yourself on the fact that you are so focused in on the person that you're talking to, and your eye contact is so strong, and you really do attribute that to a part of your success. And while we were having conversations at Inman, that was one of the first things I noticed. I'm like, whoa, I can't look away. Like, she's just looking right at me, totally focused on everything I'm saying. And I think we're in a day and age where, like, we forget how important that is, you know? And the fact that it's so noticeable in you, I felt left a big impact on me, and it must leave a big impact on your buyers and sellers. Do you feel that that's the case?
I do. I really feel like one of the ways that I've been able to build my business so well is that when I can meet with someone one-on-one, I work really hard at finding some way that I can connect with them on a personal level. Because I feel like buying and selling a house is something that's so emotional for people. For most people, it's the largest investment they'll make. And so if they can truly feel comfortable and like they're connected to you, I'm a hugger. I like to be on a level with my clients that I hug them every time I see them and we leave. I mean, it's important to me to really build that bond with them. And so I do work a lot of online leads, things like that, but my assistant and I know that if I can get an appointment with someone, my main goal is to build just a huge rapport with them and to walk away with them as a client. And so her job is to never get off the phone with a lead without me having an appointment set with them.
I remember that you told me that specifically, and I want to go back to your assistant because you've been in the business for such a short period of time. And the fact that you, the fact that you said that, you know, my assistant, At what point, because the past 19 months seem to probably have been a whirlwind for your life. I mean, to have that right. I mean, to have your life change so drastically in such a short period of time. At what point were you like, crap, I need an assistant? You know, because that must have happened really quickly. And what was the thought process behind that?
It did. Well, honestly, it wasn't even me. It was a guy I was dating at the time was like, okay, time out. You need an assistant. You need an assistant right now because you are running yourself ragged. I mean, I was to the point where I was sleeping like 3 hours a night. And that does not lend to a super quality life, which I sleep about 5 hours a night now. So, but
A little better.
I hired her last March, and
Okay.
there were definitely bumps with it because I'd never had employees before.
Right, like this is all new to you. So what are you looking for? You know, what were you looking for? How did you know what to look for when you were doing the hiring process?
Well, personality. For me, that was a big thing. I needed someone that I'm a very energetic, upbeat person, and I needed someone that I felt matched my energy so that I could trust them to be talking with my clients. I wanted somebody that had drive and passion, and that's one of the things that I love real estate, and I have a passion for houses. I always joke around that everybody geeks out over something. I geek out over houses. Like, that's just how I am. So I wanted someone who would match that same energy level, and my assistant is amazing. And I wanted someone who believed in me. I remember I went to a seminar one time by Ben Kinney, and he was talking about how he hired his first assistant, and he basically told her, look, you know, I can only pay you this much, but I can also pay you commission based on what I close. And he was talking about how important it was to have an assistant believe in your business as much as you did. And so that really resonated with me. And so when I was hiring her, that's what I thought is, will she be on board? Will she carry this vision with me in the same way that I do? And there were definitely bumps and it was, you know, mostly on me because I had a really hard time slowing down long enough to train her correctly. She had zero real estate experience from a transactional side.
Well, and you didn't have any either. So
I didn't either. So I tell her, I don't know, we're kind of the blind leading the blind here, so you're just have to figure it out. Yeah, exactly. And so it was funny. In fact, that actually is kind of a funny side joke. I went to our office manager one day and I was asking her a question about something about the escrow process. I walked up to her, I said, since I'm a new agent, and she looked at me and she goes, you don't count as a new agent. I said, but I do because I don't know how to do this or I don't know what this means. So I am still a new agent. Even though I've done a bunch of transactions, I am still new. Remember that, please.
So question. I want to go back to, well, first of all, everybody out there who's listening, if you have any questions, go to the Facebook page right there that we have for this specific webinar and ask your questions. But I have one. We go back to when you started. How did you start to get the clients that you got so you could start closing? I mean, what do you do? Because we have a lot of newer agents and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. What did you do?
So I actually just did a podcast, I don't know, a few weeks ago that the lady that I did it with, her name is Margaret Crispillo. She's amazing.
We did a podcast with her too. She's great.
She titled it "Get Up, Dress Up, and Show Up," because that was kind of my whole mindset, and that's what I would tell new agents. Don't just sit around and expect the business to come to you. You need to get out. I was going to every open house in my neighborhood that I could. First, let me back up. I got some great advice from my broker, and he said to pick one area that I wanted to farm. He said one of the biggest mistakes that people make is, like, I live in Placer County. People will say, I want to farm Placer County. That's too much. And so one of the things that I've done is I've really focused my farming on a hyper-local area. I live in a neighborhood that has about 1,350 houses in it. Okay. And so I focus my marketing to this one area, to this one zip code. And so when it was time for me to get started, I went to every open house in my neighborhood that I could. Any property that was listed that was vacant, I would go see it because I wanted to familiarize myself with the market, with the floor plans, with all of those things. I didn't just sit around and wait. I got up every single day, got dressed, did my hair and my makeup, and was ready to go. And just throughout my career so far, that has paid off in dividends for me, that I treat it like a job. I didn't expect things to just come to me. I get up every day and I treat it like I'm going to work. And so for me to get started, my first 2 deals, one was a Zillow lead and one was a referral from a lender that I met at an open house, because I was going to open houses in my neighborhood. I introduced myself to him, told him I was a new agent, talked to him for a while, and I remember he told me, oh great, here we go, here's another new agent. But then he said as he talked to me, he could tell that I would be really hardworking, that I was very passionate about doing well in real estate, and he said, okay, I'm going to give this girl a try. And it worked out well. We have a fabulous relationship still to this day.
All right, so then you were visiting open houses, you were going to all the brokers' opens, and where did you get your first, let's go through your first 3 clients, just so people could see where you got them and how you got them. Where did you get your first 3 clients from?
So my first 2 actually closed on the same day. One was an investor referral from that lender that I was just talking about. Another one was a Zillow lead. And the third one was from an open house. I had the great advice given to me to just start offering to agents to do open houses for them. And I really built a lot of my transactions through doing open houses. Once again, connecting with people, just being genuine, talking to them. Like Nick was saying, we live in such a society that there's so many distractions, and one of my biggest things that I work on is being absolutely present at whatever it is that I'm doing. Just really focusing in. So if I'm in a conversation, be present and focus in on that conversation. If I have a task that I'm doing, be present and focused on that task.
All right, so with the investor that you got, where did you get your investor lead from?
From that lender that I met at an open house.
All right, and those are your first 2 transactions?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then from your open house, and
then another one from an open house.
With your first open house, did you set up a whole bunch of, how many signs did you set up? Did you make the announcement on Facebook?
I didn't set up very many because I didn't own very many. I was a single mom. I couldn't make a huge investment, and so I just did what I could and prayed, and I had no clue how to have an open house. Nobody trained me. That's the thing. I'm like, okay, I've got my license. I'm here. I guess I just talk to people.
So how did you get that third client? He came through and you.
Yeah, it was just a buyer that was unrepresented. So I asked him, okay, tell me a little bit about what you're looking for, and just really just engaging with every single person that I could that came through that open house. I feel like so many times there are people who lack that excitement, who are sitting in open house on a chair. Hi, can you sign in? Take a look around the house. I'm standing basically at the front door. Hi, how are you? It's so good to meet you. Thank you for coming. And just really showing someone that I'm happy and excited about what I do.
And we got a question. Somebody had a question here.
Okay.
David Fresquez. Hey, David. Thanks for the question.
Oh, David Fresquez has a question.
He says, how many open houses do you do per week?
Per week?
Is it just 1 on the weekend or 2?
It depends. I don't do them every week. When it is my own listings, I hold at least 1 open house the very first weekend it's open. And it depends on how many listings I'm carrying at the time. Like over the next 3 weeks, I have 12 listings that are coming live. So obviously I can't be at every single one of them. Okay. But I've tried to stagger them and as my sellers are ready so that I can hold at least 1 myself every weekend. But I would say I try to do at least 1 a month. And I don't have people sign in at my open house.
What do?
I actually sign them in.
So as they come in, you engage them and you have
that process.
Actually, no, I don't. I actually welcome them. Let them look around. If I'm the only, I actually, the last probably 6 or 8 months have been holding open houses with that same lender that I met for safety purposes. I haven't been holding open houses alone anymore. I had actually like some really crazy stalker guy that was calling my phone for a long time because as agents we have our phone number everywhere, and it's some crazy stalker guy calling me. So I was like, okay, I'm not holding open houses alone anymore. But I actually usually let people come in to the open house, look around, and then as they're leaving, I catch them and then start chatting with them. So tell me about what you're looking for, so that it's not like they walk in the door and you're like, hi, give me your information. I mean, it's like
that would work too, though. Come on, some people like that.
That's actually a very interesting approach. So you let them walk around, they warm up, they kind of like start to feel a little bit at home, I guess. They don't feel pressured, and then maybe like at that point they'd be willing to give up a little more information that they wouldn't have to begin with.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting approach. I think I might give it a shot. Here's the how many people do you normally get at an open house? Because we'll do an open house on a Sunday, and we could literally have 50 or 60 people in a 2-hour period. So that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Like, you almost want to get them before they slip out.
Well, and that's why you stand by the front door.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Is that you catch them before they walk out.
That's why you're here.
That's a good friend of mine that he built. He and I have been in the business about the same amount of time, and he really built his business up on open houses. And he told me he's like chased people down at their car and said, I'm sorry, didn't get it. So I'm like, oh, I don't know that I could do that, but okay.
Well, with the leads that you're getting on the open houses, because I'm assuming over the months that you've been working, a year and a half or so, you've gotten a lot of leads. How do you follow up with them? Where do you put them? And how often do you follow up with them?
So I have a CRM that I use. It's called Follow Up Boss.
Oh,
and
Follow Up Boss.
I love Follow Up Boss.
Now you're Tristan's best friend.
And I enter them in. Well, I have my assistant usually now enter them in. But I try to make contact with the leads that I make that same day. And the reason why, and usually, I mean, you're super tired after an open house, but the reason why is because if it's someone who's unrepresented, chances are your open house is not the only one they went to that day.
That is true.
And so someone else could easily jump on them. And so if you're following up with them that same day, then you're still fresh in their mind and you have a lot higher conversion. I've found that.
So say you call them and then they don't pick up. Do you leave them a voicemail? Do you text them? Do you email them? What do you do?
I usually leave them a message. If they don't answer, I text and email them. And then we have what we follow as the 3-2-1 rule for any new lead. We contact them 3 times the first day, 2 times the second day, 1 time the third day. And then if we still haven't gotten really like a phone conversation or a texting conversation, which let me make it as a side note, people are actually way better at texting these days than they are at the phone.
You know what? I want to add one thing to that. I'm sorry, Nick. When we finish doing open houses, what we do is from the people that we got on the list, say we got 3. And what we do is we text them as soon as we're done, and we text them a picture of the property that we take. We say, hey, thanks for visiting our property. That way they know which one it was. Were you able to take a look at any of the other open houses close by, or do you want to see some later this week? And that some people get.
Listen, you'll actually send them a text right when they leave?
No, right when I leave. Right when I leave. Well, so when the open house is done, like at 4 or 3, whenever you're done, that's when we send out all the texts. But I mean, how many people do you get signed up? Usually, I only got like 3 to 5. I don't have like 20 to 40.
Well, when you're getting their information, you can get a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. So here's 2 more questions. It says, "Hi Amanda, do you ever do open houses during the week, like maybe a Thursday or a Friday? And if so, can you talk a little about it?"
Yes. So hi, whoever that was that said hi.
Hey, Tristan.
Sherpa Stolzoff. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Grace.
So yes, I do. In fact, if it's a higher end neighborhood, something that I've done for some of my higher end listings, and I have a listing that is coming up next weekend that's priced at $925, and I do a VIP open house for the neighborhood. I make these really pretty postcards. In fact, I'm sitting at my desk. I think I have one still.
What do you use for postcards?
What was that?
What company do you use to make the postcards?
I just get them printed at Staples.
Okay.
It's not expensive. I know, but it's just because I do a local one. I just had one sitting here for a past listing. I'm not sure it's at, but and then I have them hand delivered to people's front doors. There's a guy that I use because I do a neighborhood newsletter.
Do they knock on the door or just leave it?
No, he just sticks them in the door.
Cool.
And then I will. It depends on what my schedule's like. Sometimes I do go and try to invite like the 40 surrounding houses.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, people want their friends and family to move into the neighborhood. And so one of the biggest mistakes people can make is by going, oh, they're just a looky-loo. Oh, they don't really care. So many homes are sold by, people telling their friends and family, hey, I've got a house just down the street for sale from me, just down the street from me for sale. And so I will do often, and I'm doing this next weekend, a VIP open house that I'm inviting. I'm still going to put out open house signs. If people want to stop by, great. But I'm personally inviting the 250 surrounding homes to this VIP open house. And then I'll usually tell them, bring this postcard for a drawing or, something like that to kind of incentivize them, or get the first sneak peek. That's often.
Are you inviting them to the open house before it opens, or is it during the open house hours?
I do a special, I call it my VIP open house. And so I'll do that like on Friday evening from like 6 to 8 on Friday evening. Or even I've had really good luck from like 5 to 7. And like I said, I'll still put out open house signs.
Nice.
Well, I have my lender put out the open house signs. I'm really into that.
Wait. What does he say? Who puts up your open house signs?
I have my lender that does the open houses with me. I make him do it.
You should have Scott do that for you.
Dude,
I was gonna say that I typically do the VIP open house, but I usually do it like from 1 to 2, and then do the public from 2 to 4, just because I just want to get it all done in one shot. But it does work. If I call or send out 100 or 200 invites or make 100 or 200 calls, I'll easily get like 10 to 15 neighbors stop by within an hour, between that hour. That's a good amount of neighbors.
Mm-hmm. It is. Awesome.
I have one more question here.
Yeah.
Shane Zuspan says, how do you keep a strong mindset on the days when you just don't feel motivated?
Oh, love the question. Okay.
Great question.
So, I get up early every single morning. Right now I'm actually training for an Ironman, so I have to get up even earlier than I did. But I read The Miracle Morning, and for those of you who are not familiar with The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod wrote it, and he talks about the savers in it. And it's silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And scribing is journaling. So he talks about doing those things every single morning to start your day off right. And so I've made my own miracle morning that is I do the order differently. I usually get up and I have my journaling is I write 10 things I'm thankful for first thing in the morning every day, and they're different things. And then I do my workout, and so it just depends on what I'm doing that day. Like right now, like I said, I'm Ironman training, so I've been getting up at 4:30 every day to get my Ironman training in, because I'm having to do 2 a day, and it's really long training. But so then after I do my exercise, because that's what really wakes me up, then I do my reading, and I do my affirmations. And for my affirmations, part of what I do is I have my goals, and I read my goals every single morning. What my goals are for, I have, my broker gave me this sheet. It's called a one-page business plan. And then I love the book, The 12-Week Work Year. I actually just recently read that. And this one-page business plan, The 12-Week Work Year, are very similar. And you have basically your like 4 or 5 non-negotiables that you will do every single day. So for my affirmations, that's part of my affirmations, is I read through that one-page business plan every single day. And so that's how I stay focused, is by every single morning starting my day off correctly that way.
Wow. That's awesome. It sounds like you read a lot too, right?
I do. I try to read 10 pages a day. Sometimes I would say my reading is probably what I have to cut the shortest sometimes. So because of that, and as realtors, we're in the car all the time. I listen to a ton of audiobooks. A ton. I mean, I usually listen to the radio. I usually listen to audiobooks.
So we've got another question. You know, because you said that a lot of your business comes from. Well, before I ask this question, real quick, let's cover how you're sort of new to the area that you live in, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have much of a sphere of influence.
No, I didn't. Right now, I've only lived here for 3.5 years.
Right. So I remember you telling me. I couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3 years. So when you first got into the business, what was your main source of lead generation? Did you do expireds, FSBOs? Do you do expired or FSBO prospecting? You don't? Okay. So right now it's just open houses, finding creative ways to meet the neighbors with VIP open houses. Okay, so you don't prospect expireds and FSBOs, which is fine. It's great that you don't, because I think it's amazing that you're doing it other ways that a lot of people aren't mastering.
This is one thing that I would say. Pick what you like. Don't do something for prospecting that you hate, because you're either going to put it off and not do it, or you're going to have really crappy energy at it.
I mean, I feel like a lot of agents, when you tell them, "Oh, I don't prospect expires and FSBOs," they're like, "What? You don't? You're not 1,000 contacts a day. How are you doing any business?"
At one of our events, and he was saying the same thing. You know, don't do things you don't like.
Right. Totally.
Just do what you like, and you'll be so much better at it.
And I love people. I love connecting with people, and so that's why I'm like, if I'm ever like, oh, things are a little slow, I need to go hold an open house, and then bam, I'll have tons of business because I like meeting people. I like talking to people.
That's probably. I hate talking to people. No, I'm kidding.
You need to find a new job, Nick.
No, but I think it's amazing, and you just totally proved that, like, everyone's idea of getting business right now is picking up the phone and making 200, 300, 400, 500 calls a day, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But you don't have to do that if you don't like to. If you don't like to do it, you're not going to be productive.
Absolutely.
So you have found a creative way to do it, and actually it's I feel like it's a real human way. You're getting right in front of people all the time.
So besides the open houses that you do and the connections that you make with people through meeting them, is there anything else that you do to get business?
I do a lot of online. So I do Zillow, and then I do a lot of social media marketing as well through Facebook. Okay,
so Zillow, you go through their Premier you're a Premier agent. Is that what it is? And you pick an area, specific zip codes where you get leads from?
Yep, and once again, one zip code. Hyper-local marketing.
I love that.
And as soon as the lead comes through, you filter it through Follow Up Boss, and you've got a drip through them as well?
That's correct.
Perfect. Now, the other online leads that you get, are they Facebook related? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that my assistant is stellar. She has a marketing background, and that's what her passion is. Her passion is the marketing piece. Nice. And so she has created a content calendar that she has specific things that she posts about every single day. She's written it on the calendar. So Monday is a new listing. Tuesday is a blog post. Wednesday is a seller lead, like a home valuation ad. Thursday is what open houses are coming up in the area. Friday is usually usually we boost one of my open houses.
You're talking about posts that she boosts or posts that she just puts on your, okay.
Well, so this is the thing. If you don't have the budget to boost a post, then just creating that regular content every single day will boost your SEO.
On Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely, like, if you're supplementing, if you're posting every day to your Facebook page, it will get reach.
Mm-hmm. It will. In fact, she just told me today that our reach changed from 1,000 to 5,000 people to now our reach is, and this isn't even the paid, this is this is the organic, to now our reach is, I don't want to mess up the numbers. I want to say she said 12,000 to 17,000 because of our constant, and we post good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's not just like, here's me and what I'm doing. It's how can we contribute? How can we, you know, I laughed. I saw on Facebook the other day, it was a different agent posted. If I see another agent post about, I just sold this house, I'm so stressed because I have this many buyers. Like, it's not like self-promotion. It's what can you give to the community. That's what's going to create the engagement. You want to post
Amanda. Hey, Amanda, you know Don, our friend Don?
Yeah.
So Don commented and saying that you just smile and you get business. Oh, Don. You're so sweet, Don. So, I was going to say something, but I totally forgot. So, Tristan, ask another question.
That turned me off. Okay, here's a question. On Zillow, so you just purchase one zip code, that's it, right? No.
Yeah.
Do you purchase like the max in the area, or do you just keep it to like a minimum?
Well, it depends on what people's budgets are. I mean, I took a leap of faith and did a $300 budget. Now $300 doesn't buy you hardly anything on Zillow.
Yeah.
But obviously my Zillow rep loved me and kept saying, oh, we have more impressions opening. And I think I do actually have the most impressions out of any agent in that zip code now. But one of the most important things that we have learned in maximizing on Zillow leads are the reviews that you get. So making sure that you are asking your clients for reviews. And that was honestly really hard for me at first. And it's kind of hard to get reviews out of people. So we've also now dialed it down to a science of when we ask for the review, we actually ask for the review prior to closing. Because once they've closed, they're kind of gone.
They forget about you.
Right.
When they're still in the gear of, you know, DocuSigns are coming to them every day for stuff.
Did you say DocuSign?
Yeah, DocuSign, yes.
Oh, okay.
I love DocuSign, by the way.
I love DocuSign too. There's nothing like being able to be on my phone and pull up a PDF and load it for signatures.
Hey, Amanda, can I just interrupt real quick? Remember how you said you were doing an Ironman?
Yeah.
Well, so is Tristan, clearly, with his treadmill and his weights behind him.
Tell us Tristan's treadmill desk. I want one of those.
Okay, sorry, let's get back. Let's serious business here, guys.
Let's get back to business. I don't even know what I was going to ask you anymore, man. Hold on. Here's my question.
Okay.
How important is your vision to your whole business? Because at the beginning when you started, I'm assuming it was more like, I've got to get this done. I remember you saying, success is my only option. So I know you had that at the beginning. But as you started seeing as you started succeeding, how important was that vision to help you get to where you want to get to? Super
important. So I created a virtual vision board, which Nick was begging me to post on Facebook that
it's a good vision.
I would stare. I literally put it up on my TV, and when I would run on my treadmill every morning, I would stare at that, and it had basically what like my top goals were for the year. And I feel like having a vision, you know, having the why and having that vision, having an actual goal that you're reaching for is extremely important, because how do you measure what success is to you? And so for me, I created that vision of what I wanted my gross income to be, and then just different parts of my life that I wanted to, you know, I posted what car I wanted to get. I posted how much money I wanted to make. I posted the physical shape that I wanted to be in. I mean, there were several things that I put on this virtual vision board that I created. And I achieved every single one of those goals except for one in 2015, and that's because I looked at that thing every single day when I was running. So I think having a vision is so important.
Let's mention that you bought a car for all cash. Let's just mention that.
I did.
Any car. What car was it? An M5 or something?
It's a BMW 535D.
And was that on your vision board?
Get on the treadmill and look at your vision board every single day.
But then you have to go out and work for it too.
Oh, that's true.
That's the thing, is that part of having that vision is having those goals. And then you break down your goals into minute steps of what do you need to do every single day to achieve those goals.
So let me just go through, just for anybody joining late, because we've got some people that just jumped on. So far, you've got your goals down, right? You do your whole miracle morning in the morning, and you go through your being thankful. You go through the whole process. You have the one sheet of goal, the one goal sheet. You have your vision board in front of you when you're running, and you do all this before what time in the morning?
I am done and ready for the day by 6:45, because that's when my kids get up.
So 6:45 a.m. you're done with everything that has to do with mindset, motivation, vision, goals, anything.
Yep, exercise. I mean, and I'm not just done with that. I'm also showered and ready for the day. Hair done, makeup done, dressed for work every single day, because then my kids get up and I'm mom. I'm getting them ready for school. I'm packing lunches. I'm making breakfast. I'm making sure, everybody's got their backpacks and everything that they need for the day.
So what time do you wake up?
What time do I wake up? Depends, between 4:30 and 5:30 every day.
PM?
I know there's so many people that are like, yeah, AM. I know there's so many people that are like, oh, I could never do that. Well, once again, Hal Elrod's thing is create the life that you're excited to wake up for every single day. Pushing the snooze button is basically saying I don't like my life and I want to ignore my life, instead of I want to get up and be excited for my life to live every day.
All right, so after you're done with that and you're prepared and you take your kids to school and they're there, what do you do after when you get to the office? What's your schedule like in the morning?
So my assistant and I, we call it our powwow. We go through every single day, and she tells me what she's working on for the day, and then we have our fire items, because we prioritize the tasks that I give her. And so we go through her to-do list, the fire items I have for her, and then we figure out what my to-do list is, well, because, I mean, I'm not perfect at staying on task, and so she and I will come together, what do I need to do that day? Because obviously there are things that I have to do that she can't do because she's not licensed. And so what do I need to do that day? And then we usually are done. I'm in my office every single morning by 8:15, and then she and I usually powwow out about 8:30, from 8:30 to 8:50, 8:45, 8:50 usually. And then she jumps into her lead gen, we call it. So that's where she's following up on online leads that have come in, and following up with, making sure showing schedules are set for that day, things like that. And for me, that's when I go through and touch bases with my clients that are either active or in contract or pipeline clients that I want to touch bases with, and I do that every single day.
Wow.
So I had a question which kind of goes back to your morning routine. So what time are you at the office every morning?
8:15.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're home by 3:30
Mm-hmm.
to see your kids, and then you're with your kids until 7:30 till they go to bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So between 3:30 and 7 or 7:30, there's no business being done, or no.
That's not true.
Okay.
There is still business being done.
But it's like you're home with your kids.
Correct.
That's the main focus.
Making dinner, doing homework, doing the mom things. I try to protect that time so much. Once again, it goes back to being a stay-at-home mom and me trying to reduce the blow of my kids adjusting to going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And so for them, I want them to still feel as much as possible like I am a stay-at-home mom. And so I tell my clients up front, look, I'm a single mom, and between 3:30 and 7:30, the best way to reach me is via text.
Okay.
If you need something right away, here's my assistant Lexi's phone number. You're welcome to call her. She is an extension of me. She knows 99% of what's going on with all of the transactions. And, if it's something urgent or a question that she can't answer, by all means, call me. And if I'm not available, I will call you just absolutely as soon as I possibly can.
Right. So you said that. That's a very good boundary to set.
It is. And I really, really try to not have any client appointments during that time. Obviously, you know, that's after work time. That's when a lot of people only can meet. So there are times that I have to make exceptions, but I really try not to. I really try to protect those hours.
So what happens after 7 o'clock? I mean, what do you do?
That's when I usually walk into my office. I'm sitting in my home office right now. I put my kids to bed, and then I walk into my home office, and that's when I really respond to emails and make sure, you know, everything's caught up with each transaction and things like that. And it's still early enough that I can call people if I need to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really feel like nowadays it's kosher to call people up until about like 8:45 at night.
That's about right. We do like 8:30ish. What time are you done completely and you go to sleep?
I'm not that great at going to bed.
So how many hours of sleep do you usually get a night?
My optimal amount is 5 hours.
So 5, okay. That's not bad.
Yeah. So if I sleep like 11:30 to 4:30.
Cool.
That's usually my 5 hours.
Very good. So do you find yourself, and this is a challenge for me, that's why I'm asking you. I find myself, no matter what I'm doing, I find myself texting clients, responding to leads, or responding to Jacob, my ISA, or texting Nick all day.
Me?
Do you find yourself kind of stuck that way as well, or is it a challenge that you see? And if it is, how do you deal with it?
So, yeah, I mean, like Nick was saying earlier, too, I mean, the world that we live in is full of distractions. I mean, I'm laughing at between Nick's computer, your computer, my computer, these constant just ping, 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 ping.
I know, it's terrible.
And I thought I even muted my desktop. I think it's my laptop that's pinging here, and I can't mute that. But it's constant. And so, once again, like I was saying, of being present in a conversation, just really trying to train ourselves and being present on the task. And I have felt that my miracle morning and doing my meditation each day has really helped me in training my brain to focus on what I'm doing. And my assistant and I laugh because I'll go, shoot, I'm shiny objecting, like if I get distracted, if I'm shopping for shoes online instead of sending a form I need to, or, you know, something like that. But I think it's just being very aware, and when you catch yourself in that distraction, to stop immediately and refocus and rein yourself back in and get back on to task, to what you need to be doing. I feel like one of the biggest downfalls in real estate that I've noticed in my short tenure in real estate is that there are not enough agents who treat it with dedicated work hours. They sleep in, they head into the office if they ever feel like it. I mean, like that's kind of a joke that I've heard many times.
Looking at me when you say that, because that's how I used to be.
Well, there's the joke of what's the loneliest place at 8 o'clock in the morning? It's a real estate office.
Well, that's so true.
No, I mean, there's so few agents that treat it like a business. They're like, oh, you know, it's just kind of like a side job. You know, I'll sell a few houses a year and I'll make some money, and you know, but the difference is that the ones that treat it like a business and the ones that get up and do the work and do the grind, you know, those are the ones that are gonna succeed. So
exactly, it's consistency, and it's consistency at whatever you like. So if you don't like people and you don't like any forms of prospecting whatsoever, whether it's an open house, whether it's just going out and meeting people, whether it's, you know, I mean, there's so many things. If there's nothing about this industry that you can find that you like, you probably should change careers.
Pretty much.
You gotta find something you like and then be consistent and do it constantly.
So talking about consistency, you've got a database, and obviously you follow up with it because you're doing great. How big is your database? And at the very beginning, when you started, did you focus on your sphere? So how big is your database, and did you focus on your sphere at the beginning?
Well, we have about 1,500 people in our database now.
That's
and once again, those are mostly online leads that haven't necessarily been converted, that we just drip on constantly. But I have been amazed, and I would tell everybody to get a CRM that will have that follow-up for you, because I'll be the first one to say I'm not great at staying in touch. In fact, my assistant and I were just talking about a little Valentine's Day gift that I want to do for past clients and clients I'm actively working with, because I haven't been super stellar at keeping up with my past clients. But I saw this somewhere that said, don't break up with me, even though I haven't talked to you for a long time. So I thought that would be cute for Valentine's Day, for a little Valentine's Day little goodie to bring to my past clients and say, don't break up with me. I know I haven't been stellar at keeping in touch, but that's the beauty of Facebook is I still make sure. Lisa Archer was talking about how she keeps up with past clients on Facebook, and I make sure to always wish them a happy birthday, to try to comment on at least 5 people's, actually comment, not just like comment on like 5 people's statuses a day, just to stay in touch with them, to like really legitimately stay in touch with them. And so
commenting is, yes, it's still social media, but you are stopping to write them a note.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does work. I mean, I try to do the same sort of thing every day. Comment on a handful of people's updates, and I'll get messages every so often saying, hey, thinking about selling or thinking about buying or yada yada yada. It just opens the door for real estate conversations, and it's usually started by them.
Yeah. Exactly, and like we were, when we were at Inman, Seth Godin spoke, and he was talking about being a purple cow, and going back to building those relationships with people. You want to stand out. I don't know about where you're at in New Jersey, Nick. Tristan, I'm sure you experienced this in California. I'm in California as well. I swear, everyone knows someone who has their license. Everyone's like, oh, my cousin has their license, or whatever. So agents are a dime a dozen. And so the important thing is to find your niche, find what you're passionate about, and stand out. Be that purple cow. Be that unique one that someone will remember, oh, yeah, I really like working, I really liked talking to her because she actually listened to me and cared about what I was saying.
I mean, the guy that takes my photos for my listings, his father's a real estate agent. I mean, it's like I can't even get him to buy a house from me. But no, it's true. Everyone knows somebody, so you really got to make yourself different. So.
For sure.
Any last words, Tristan? Because it's 10
well,
on the east side, baby.
Geez, what time is it in the East Coast, Nick?
It's 9:54.
You guys are always on the wrong time zone. I don't get it.
Everything happens here first. You guys are in the past.
Oh, geez.
I mean, look, here's the thing with Amanda that I think is amazing. There's so many agents out there starting out in the business, and they're like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know where I'm going to get business from. Ho hum, woe is me. My life sucks. But you know what? Like, you're the perfect example of you're totally breaking that mold. So, and I don't want to sound cliche, but it's like, really, you could do if you really want to succeed, you can. You said to me the other day, like, the only option you have is success, right? Did I say that right? Instead of
the only option.
Instead of saying failure is not an option, success is the only option. So
yeah, because what are you going to focus on? I'm not going to say failure isn't an option because then you're focusing on failure. I'm going to say success is my only option because I want to focus on success.
Well, I'm not going to fail, so I'll be mediocre at best. So it's like, flip it around. It makes so much of a difference.
So if you could give one, say, hey, look, new agents, this is the one thing you should be focusing on to succeed. What is that?
One thing. I would say probably focus on first yourself, on being absolutely the highest quality person you can be. That's why I feel like starting out your morning correctly and really centering yourself so that you're not just frazzled. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of times that I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. My assistant will laugh because I will literally be sprinting into the office, grab some paperwork from her, and run back out. But I know I have that laser focus. I know what I'm after. So that's what I would say to a new agent is know what you want. Figure out what you want. And I've heard it many times in this industry that success leaves clues. So go find an agent who is successful. Generally speaking, agents who are successful are willing to share how they've done it. In the 12-week year, that book that I was talking about earlier that I love so much, is that everyone wants to be successful, and like that picture that I sent to you guys, everyone wants to be successful till they see what it takes. It's all about execution. So being coachable, and if you find that, you know, top producer that's willing to impart their wisdom to you, and honestly, I would tell you, if you can find a top producer in a different area so they don't view you as competition per se, but find someone that has been successful, learn from them, and then actually do it. Actually execute on the tips and tricks that they're giving to you.
All right, so I heard two things there. One, take care of yourself, meaning in the morning, do your routine, visualize, do your goals, take care of yourself and your mind, right? Mm-hmm. And then the second thing is, which I saw you do really well at Inman, which is connect with other agents so you can learn from them so you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That I mean, I saw it, so I know you're good at it.
Oh. I connected with you guys.
You did a great job. So anything you want to add, Nick? Any other questions? Amanda, anything you want to say?
I mean, there's so many questions that I have that we didn't touch on.
Yeah.
But,
you know, I don't want to be here for 3 hours, right?
No, I mean, you know, we didn't talk about, you know, your listing presentation and how you go about like getting the signature, and I mean, there's so many different things I want to talk about because you said you had 12 listings coming up, but you know what? It's to be continued, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one last question. 12 listings. Where are they coming from? The majority. Yeah. Where are the 12 listings?
I gotta visualize my board in my office. I have a board up in my office that at work that is buyers, active buyers, pipeline buyers, and then active or, you know, coming up listings and active listings and signed listings, and then every transaction that's in escrow, and then what's closed. So it's 4 columns. And okay, so let's see. Zillow, a business-to-business referral, a sphere of influence listing, another Zillow, a Facebook.
Is this a Zillow listing or a Zillow buyer?
Zillow listing.
Wow, okay.
Another Zillow buyer that I found as a buyer and needed to sell. Another business-to-business referral. A sign call from a past listing that were buyers and then are now sellers. I'm trying to visualize the rest of my board.
That sounds pretty amazing to me right there. The fact, first of all, there's like 3 Zillow listings right there are pretty amazing, right, Tristan?
Well, it's once again converting those leads. Get the people on the phone.
Yeah, it's exactly. There you go. Because you know what? You can complain all day long about Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever, but when you get those people on the phone, chances are you're the only one who called. You're the only one that called within 5 minutes.
Well, exactly. And that's key is immediately. I mean, right. You immediately call them.
I can't tell you how many times like I call an internet lead and they go, "What?" They're like, that was quick."
Yes. Oh, I cannot tell you how many times I've gone, "That was fast."
Really? Well,
and that's what I tell people. That's how I work. I like to be a good communicator. So when you work with me, you'll see I'm easy to get a hold of. Oh, if I could tell any new agent something, answer your phone. Respond to text, respond to emails. There's nothing more frustrating for a client and an agent on the other side than someone who doesn't communicate.
And by the way, if you are a single agent like yourself and you don't have an assistant, please, please, please have an autoresponder. Make sure that your autoresponder sends a text message after a few minutes, just because that will, right there, when the lead gets your text, they're waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've already promised you in their mind that they're going to wait for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Tristan's like the master at autoresponders. Right, Tristan?
Dude, I remember when 5 Street came out and they were like the first ones. Now everybody's got an autoresponder, but yes.
It does work. I use Conversion. Their autoresponders are unreal. I've had it for 2 months, and I've already got 5 million in buyers in the pipeline just from their amazing autoresponders.
Well, and I will tell you, my voicemail even has an autoresponder.
What voicemail do you have?
I use Umail.
Oh, you
I
mail.
do U-mail, and I
Right.
pay for the business one. I think it's like $10 a month. But when you pay for the business one, it texts you your voicemail. So I can't even tell you the last time I listened to a voicemail message is because it texts me. So it's really awesome if I'm out showing houses or whatever, and I'm not going to answer my phone, but then I can kind of discreetly like look at my phone and see the text and be like, oh, okay, I got the message, and then know if it's something urgent, if it's something. I'll honestly, and if you don't have an assistant, this wouldn't apply, but I will take a screenshot of the text and just forward it to my assistant and just say, please take care of this.
Hey guys, I'm gonna cut it short. Well, not really, because the baby's crying, so I gotta go. But
All right, guys. Amanda, thank you so much. We
I
appreciate it.
gotta have part 2
Thanks
sometime.
for having me, guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, have a good one.
Bye, Nick. Bye,
Bye.
Tristan.